Well, I just felt during the course of the week, we've been challenging our guys all week that most physical team that showed up to the stadium would probably win the game. I know they're built on the way they rush the football and the way that they defend the run, so I really challenged our guys all week to kind of hop into that mode. Same principle. I really, this year is a process, right? We keep learning, we keep getting our stuff, putting our best foot forward. The part that I really, even to our messages last night, at times this year we've been, tough, right? Tough moments. I kind of referred to it as the fog. They got to see through the fog to get where they want to be, and these guys just kept doing that, kept pressing themselves, and really impressed with our defense. Offensively, to get that first touchdown, the first time they touched the ball was a tone setter, and then I know they're a good football team. They're winning the Big Ten West, right? Before we showed up here today, they were the leaders in the Big Ten West, and I told our guys we may not be in that position right now, but we can start to play like that, and I couldn't be more proud of these guys. Open it up for questions.
Brett, you guys have 2 ranked wins on the road, and then other games like home games you guys have struggled. How do you balance understanding the steps you're taking, but also kind of seeing how close some of the
I get it. I totally understand it, right? Like, so kind of just what I said in there, like, let's act like we've been here. Let's try to put 2 together. If we don't win this week, we're in trouble, right? It's a bye week. But the formula isn't really different on a home or away. Just sometimes when you're dealing with a team that really is kind of finding their way, the way we want to win games, the way we can play. Sometimes it's a little bit easier on the road. They take that mentality of us against the world. I told those guys at halftime, well, before the game, I said, let's go get 2 quarters of work, come in and talk about it. And at halftime, we said a half day of work is done. Let's see what we can do. And our defense especially just kept answering the bell. I thought offensively did enough to, overcome tough moments. Again, a couple penalties hurt us. But there in the end, right, the game is in the hands of Blake Hayes, and he, puts it down there on the 1-yard line. Taylon Letzi, who's probably the guy on the roster no one knows anything about except for the people from Illinois, and he downs the ball on the 1 and was a big play, to have him start that way. So, like I've said all along, it's kind of the bad news bears, right? Nobody really knows these guys' names, but they just keep playing and fighting and competing, and it's a fun group to be around.
33 carries is obviously a lot for Chase, but what has led you to believe that he can be that physical 25, 30 carry back?
Well, obviously we weren't advertising it, but I felt bad. Josh McCray he's had a flu bug really the last 2 weeks, and you could tell he wasn't himself. We did plan on getting Jakari in there and give him a chance to do it, but Chase just continues to be impressive. We got to be smart about that. He won't hit a soul this week, I promise you. So I think he's a very talented player, and he kind of thrives on it. He doesn't want to get out of there. But I thought a couple key passes by BP today. The first play with Barnes there to hit him in the back of the end zone, great read, and then how about that, right? Like to get Tip Ryman into that position. It was the first time to really have a significant catch, be a touchdown on the road in Minnesota, and being from South Dakota, just like couldn't have scripted it up any better for him.
Coach, a bunch big stops on 3rd and 4th down.
Yeah.
Where's that mentality come from these guys?
I give a lot of credit to our defensive players, our defensive coaches, Ryan, J-Mo, Andy Boo, Kevin Kane, Aaron Henry. They just keep sawing wood, man. They're in that little dungeon in our office that's right outside my office. Those guys just camp out in there and they grind it. You guys have seen it, I'm sure. Like I think back to that Penn State game and the diligence that they prepare and the craft that they put in front of our players. Ryan went back 3 years to watch a 2-point play. That's just kind of what he is. Extremely talented coaches and players that have bought into him 100 times over.
Brett, you guys were 5 minutes away from the first Big Ten shutout for Illinois in 20 years. I know you were impressed with Ryan as a candidate. Like, what's impressed you most since he's been here and been to DC?
Ryan has 2 critical things. A, he's extremely intelligent, and B, he's got great presence. I would even say, like, the first time when you meet Ryan, I'm sure you guys have, he's kind of a demeanor that doesn't really showcase what he is, like when you first meet him. Now when you're around him, and our players feed off his energy. It's a really fun crew to be around. And what I love about Ryan, he's the first one that gives a lot of credit to the other coaches. Like he's talked all along how he loves the support of the coaches and the ideas and the thoughts. And if you're on the headset, the chatter that's going on is just extremely high level. So I think there's a lot of positive going in the right direction in that room.
What did it mean to get that?
Go ahead.
What did it mean to get that first touchdown in the first quarter today of the season? How did that help you do what you guys wanted to do?
Yeah, really challenge the offensive guys. It was one of their first goals this week. We always talk about 3 keys on offense, defense, special teams, and our first one was score early. I gave them a stat too that one of the things I constantly look at is, indicators before the game is played, and one of the things that we look at is play from ahead, right? In Minnesota, just the way they're wired, I believe since 2018, when they're leading at the end of the first quarter, and when they're in turnover margin, their winning percentage is almost through the roof. If they're behind at the end of the first quarter and it kind of progresses after that, the results are in our favor, right? So we really wanted to get on the board first, have a couple big stops early, and kind of let the game play out.
And I know you've talked a lot about starting maybe better in games. What did you see today where you were able to get the offense going early?
They just capitalized, and I think even that Penn State game, remember, we were moving it early, and then we had the interception, right? So ball security is a big one. One of the things that I get and I put in front of them that we talk about as coaches when Minnesota is either winning or even in the turnover margin, their win percentage is off the charts. When we have the winning percentage, or when the opponent has the turnover margin favor, their winning percentage is less than 30%. So we were putting a huge emphasis on just taking care of the football and on defense and attacking the football.
Brett, they had allowed 9 sacks in 8 games. Before today, you get 6 today. I imagine that's because you won first and second down before that, but just the physicality of being able to overcome their offensive line and get that pressure on Tanner.
Yeah, I thought, again, it's in the execution. Obviously, the play call and the execution. I thought, even that first tip ball, I believe, was, if I'm not mistaken, with Seth, right? That got the tip, but it was really pressure from OC. I can't wait to watch the film on the personal foul and roughing, right? So I didn't see that one the way they, but I know the refs don't make mistakes, so we'll take that one and go. But I think the most thing that's been impressive to me is the faith of these guys, right? To be a 3-6, now a 4-6 football team, and just the way they keep approaching things. I just been so impressed with their demeanor and what they've been able to do and how they've been able to do it.
Brett, it's hard to put together the defense that gave up that many points to Virginia and UTSA, and the defense you guys have now had for all Big Ten play, basically.
Yeah.
What did you guys find out that this group succeeds doing?
Well, I think the key to success is, maximizing what you do well and minimizing what you don't do well. And I think Ryan, in particular, really took an inventory after those first couple games. Hey, what are we doing? What do we do well? And let's try to capitalize that. I look at guys like Tony Adams. I mean, love him to death. God, man, I wish I could have a couple more years with him. Just the ability that he's turned around his play and playing at a high level. The emergence of Kirby, really, in theory, 2 of our inside linebackers who would be, in my opinion, probably all Big Ten type players are down for the season, and you have Tariq and Kalon come in and just play at an extreme high level. I couldn't be more impressed. Guys up front, I think Johnny Newton, Keith Randolph, Rod Perry. Unfortunately, I think Bobo does have a significant ankle. He re-aggravated his injury, but I think Seth, and I'm going to tell you now, Isaiah Gay, I can't say enough about his emergence and what he plays with extension. He's explosive. For me as a coach, like I always say, you learn so much from your players. What I've learned on this journey with Isaiah Gay is absolutely awesome. Like, 'cause he was frustrated, I was frustrated, coaches, and he just took this path in a great demeanor, and he's playing really well because of it.
But I wonder, that Wisconsin game, you guys are 2-5.
Yeah.
Going into a bye, it just felt like, looking at it from the outside, that could have been a pivotal point in this season. How did you guys turn from that into 2 ranked wins?
I get it. I think the process that players, like everybody says, kids are different these days. Kids are no different from when I was a freshman to where they are now. They want to be guided, right? And if they trust you, they'll listen, and they'll, you don't have to be demeaning, you don't have to be derogatory. You just kind of build a trust relationship with them, and these guys have really accepted what we've said, even when it made them uncomfortable or made our coaches uncomfortable saying it to them. But I'm like, just tell them the truth. Players want honesty, and if you can give them one tool, if you give them a new pair of pliers in the toolbox, right, or a new screwdriver, or a new hammer that they can use to build their craft, they'll gravitate to you in a heartbeat. And I give Coach Smith and his craft, like they gave us a foundation, some good kids to build around. We're getting a lot of good work with our younger players. This week we'll get a lot of developmental work. We'll also be on the road recruiting. These 2 bye weeks have been absolutely awesome for us in recruiting to get out where we need to be. And I appreciate the question, but it really didn't surprise me, right? Like during that bye week, that Wednesday bye week practice, was very impressive to me. The spirit, the energy. We had a couple guests in that kind of made the same comment. They're like, man, that does not look like a 2-5 team going out there and practicing. And I give a lot of credit to them because this game in November mattered, right, for us this week. Obviously, we're not in a contention for the Big Ten West this year, but that team was and at the top of it. And I made a challenge to them. Let's see where you want to be, right? Let's see what you want to do. give a lot of credit to Minnesota and Coach Black. You know, like I've said during the week, we're different people, but I have a tremendous amount of respect for what he's done in this program and built it. When I was with the Giants, I actually drafted Carter Coughlin, who was a kid that played here in Minnesota, and the faith that kid had in his upbringing here, you know, really said something to me. I know for me as a head coach, whenever I have one of my, or a coach that is now coaching one of my players talks about the foundation they play with, that excites you, and I've seen that firsthand now.
What did you get out of Brandon today, not only in the throw game, but on some of those bootlegs, you know, runs? He comes out of the game, comes back in the game. What does that kind of do for him and his teammates?
You know, parents know best, fathers know best, right? So I saw BP's dad after a game, and he kind of talked about how, like I said, sometimes I feel like I got to push him around to get him going. He goes, Coach, it's exactly what you got to do. Make him get out there and run a little bit and get it going, and you know, he got a little courageous there, a couple of them. I said, hey, there's nothing wrong with the hook slide here, my friend. But even, I think if you asked our kids, his demeanor this week, the last 2 weeks in practice have been outstanding. I just really thought he's kind of, we came in right after that Wisconsin game. I said, my friend, this is it, right? There's no more COVID, there's no more 7th years, right? Let's see what you got. And he's been awesome. I think the kids can feel it a little bit, and it's a fun group.
The running game got off to a fast start, but then it became a little bit of a grind. Was that just Minnesota playing better defense?
I think that, you know, they made some adjustments, but we also did some things to hurt ourselves again. We got a couple fouls there, you know, that hurt us. If we don't have success on first, second down, we're not a good third and long team, right? So we got to have success on early downs to get there, and I'll give Minnesota credit. They were doing some things, but we got to maintain it for 4 quarters.
Brett, how much does 2 wins over ranked opponents help you when you get out on the trail? Like, how does that make a big impact?
I get it. You know, I really had thought about it. I knew that Minnesota was. I didn't say anything about their ranking. I don't even. They were in the ranked, and I knew they were ahead of the Big Ten West. That's all. That's only, you know. So on Wednesday, you know, I put up 3 numbers. I always kind of go through who they are. Right. This is a team. This is what they do. This is how they play. And then I put up at the end. I put 3 and 5. Or 3 and 6, is that what we were? 3 and 6. I put up their record, and then I put up another record that we kind of talk about all the time in our building, 14 to 14, and that's what people thought of us for the year, right? They said we're 14 out of 14 people. So I keep putting those numbers out there to say, like, really no matters really matter except for the ones this weekend to go 1-0, right? And the 74 guys hopping on the plane that did this at Penn State, I said the same thing. Hey, we've been here, done that. Like, it's not like we got to go through this rodeo again. We've been able to do that. Robert, you don't want anything, man? You just got here.
He already called last question.
I'll give Robert one. I know you hustled your little sweet ass.
Okay, yes. Okay. Did you? It's probably already been asked, but I asked you Monday about 4th downs, 8 for 9 and now today 2 huge 4th down stops.
Yeah. They you know, I think the plan, the execution, and then I was going to go down 4th down. That was a big moment for everybody in the cyber world out there. But they kind of lined up in the double A gap, which is I just knew we were playing good defense and put it in the punting game, but. Yeah, I thought our defense today answered the challenge. Even, you know, that last drive, I knew where they were going with that ball, and we had a defense. I knew that Kirby was going to be in that middle, and I kind of, even on their touchdown play, I signaled to Kirby because I'm like, I knew they were going to run a bootleg, but he didn't get it across. Kirby looked at me, and I saw him talk to other people, but we just didn't get it over to Sid. Thank you very much.